Hi, hello and welcome back to F1 Challenge VB. My name is Mephisto and our journey through the history of Formula 1 continues today with the third round of the 1967 season, the Dutch Grand Prix. It was held on the 4th of June at the Zandvoort circuit. It had 17 entries, all of them took part in the race but 7 ended up retiring. The race consisted of 90 laps completed in 2 hours, 14 minutes and 45 seconds. Graham Hill started the race from pole but retired on lap 11 due to an engine problem. Gurney started second but retired on lap 8 due to an injection problem. Brabham was third on the grid. Rindt was fourth but retired on lap 41 with a broken suspension. Rodriguez started fifth but retired on lap 39 with a gearbox failure. And Sturdy started the race from sixth but retired on lap 73 due to some problems with the throttle. Jim Clark, who started from 8th, took full advantage of the chaos throughout the race and took the lead to win the Dutch Grand Prix from Brabham, who only gained one position, and crossed the line 23.6 seconds after Clark. Holm climbed from 7th to 3rd and was 25.7 seconds behind Clark. Amon started 9th and ended up in 4th, 27.3 seconds behind the leader. Mike Park started from 10th on the grid and climbed up into 5th, he was 1 lap down. And Scarfiotti, who started from 15th, rounded off the top 6, he was 1 lap down as well. The fastest man of the race was Clark, who posted a time of 1 minute 28.08 seconds. Greetings from the sand dunes of Zandvoort, where a lap starts off with a long run down into turn 1, a tight 180-degree right-hand hairpin with a bit of a camber to make it a tad easier to navigate. Turns 2 and 3 are next, forming a medium-speed left-right chicane. Be careful as it is easy to mess this one up. This leads into turn 4, a tight 180-degree left-hand hairpin, and from here the track opens up until we reach turn 7, a medium-speed cambered right-hander. The track opens up once more until we reach turn 12, another medium-speed cambered right-hander. This leads into turn 13, the final corner of the track, a high-speed right-hand sweeper that brings us around onto the main straight, and that is a lap around the Zandvoort circuit. And here we are in qualifying for the Dutch Grand Prix, and it went about as well as you'd expect at this circuit. We managed to post a 131.881 seconds lap. We saw a bunch of cars strewn all across the start-finish straight. Anyway, I tried to improve on this time, however I couldn't find the pace anymore. In fact, I never was able to get anywhere near this lap time, so that was kind of, well, disappointing, but that is that, I guess. As we now take a look at the previous Dutch Grand Prix winners. Haven't won here in a very long time, so hopefully today things will be a little bit better, but we'll have to wait and see, obviously. And we have Jack Brabham starting from pole with Denny Holm in second. Graham Hill is third, fourth is Jim Clark. John Surtees fifth, and rounding off the top 6 is Chris Amon. Then in 7th we have Guy Ligier, followed by Dan Gurney in 8th. Mike Spence is 9th, Jackie Stewart 10th. In 11th we have Joe Sifford, followed by Johnny Servoz-Gavin in 12th. 13th is Jean-Pierre Beltois, Pedro Rodriguez 14th. 15th Chris Irwin, Mike Parks is 16th. Epi Weitz is 17th. Jonathan Williams is 18th. 19th is Lodovico Scarfiotti. 20th is John Love, followed by Lucky Botha in 21st. 22nd is Jochen Rindt. In 23rd we have David Hobbs. Jackie X is 24th. 25th Bob Anderson. Bruce McLaren 26th. 27th Joe Bonnier. 28th is Sam Tingle. 29th is Andy Hicks. 30th is Pierce Carriage. Mike Fisher 31st, and 32nd Dave Charlton. So that is the grid lineup for today's race. Hopefully we will do, well, decently. We haven't done very well in South Africa and we retired in Monaco, so that's not very good. Points would be very welcome, obviously, but let's just focus on trying to finish the race first. And we are off, and there were a couple of cars that I think got stuck on the grid, and we managed to somehow move into 24th already. Sorry about the drop in frame rate, not quite sure what's going on, but I'm guessing there's a lot of crashes all over. There we go, that's finally solved itself as we now move into 24th and try to have a look at Bruce McLaren trying to get around him. Maybe through turn 4 here. No, not quite. Tried to go on the outside there, but couldn't quite stick it. Then he kind of blocks me, so I had to pull back, but then he pulls to the side and I managed to get around him. As we take a look at a replay of the start, we see a car there stuck on the grid. Not quite sure who it is yet, but I'm sure we'll find out soon enough as we come into turn 1 here, trying to get around Bruce McLaren in his red car. Hopefully, well, actually no, we managed to do that eventually. And here is a replay of Sam Tingle, who was stuck on the grid. It was him who was having problems. Not quite sure what his problem actually was, but probably electronics or clutch or something of the sort. Anyway, we now move towards the end of lap 1 as I try to overtake Pierce Courage there for 21st, and then coming around on the start finish straight, get around a few cars there. Then Lucky Botha, for no reason whatsoever, brakes suddenly. I crash into him. Luckily my car is still intact, but my suspension was damaged thanks to that. As we take a look at a replay of Dave Charlton coming into the pits to retire from the race for whatever reason, not sure at this point. And here is a replay of Lucky Botha. So he was coming into the pits when I crashed into him. That's why he braked so suddenly. There was no warning. I didn't know he was doing that, so that's why I managed to crash into him. Anyway, we now move on to lap 3, and there were a couple of cars there crashed at turn 1. I'm sure we'll get a replay of that soon enough as I try to catch up to John Love. And here is and indeed we have a replay. This is Joe Siffert in his number 20 car coming into turn 1 a bit fast. Somehow the car flips upside down and he's out of the race, obviously. And here is Apophis, who does the exact same thing. Not quite sure how you're able to flip an F1 car upside down like that, but it happened. Still on lap 3, and we just managed to pass John Love for 15th, which is very good. Hopefully he'll keep Jochen Rindt and I think, well, Jochen Rindt and Joe Siffert behind me, because they were really pushing on me. And here is a replay of Jonathan Williams coming into turn 1. He flips his car upside down, and obviously he is out of the race as well. As we now move on to lap 6, there's Dan Gurney at the side of the track upside down. Jochen Rindt and Siffert caught back up to me and are pushing me like crazy. As we take a look at a replay of Dan Gurney coming into turn 1, and obviously flips his car upside down, and he is also out of the race. Again, I'm not quite sure how this is happening. Anyway, we move on to lap 7 here, and Guy Ligier has retired from the race as well, so we move up into 13th. We are near the top 10. Hopefully we will be able to get into the top 10. That would be very, very nice. As we take a look at a replay of Guy Ligier coming into turn 1, loses control of his car, flips it upside down, because of course he does, and he is out of the race as well. Now moving on to lap 8, and Gavin is quite slow on the straight as we come into turn 1 here, and we move up into 12th place, so gaining positions, and hopefully Gavin will keep Surtees and Rindt behind me better than Love did, although I kind of doubted it. And here is a replay of Denny Holm coming into turn 1, and well, he flips his car upside down and he is out of the race as well. These physics, man, I don't really understand them. Anyway, here is a replay of John Love, who has smoke coming out of the rear of his car. He pulls to the side and he is obviously out of the Dutch Grand Prix as well. Lap 12 here, and we just overtake Jean-Pierre Beltois for 10th place, so we are now in the top 10, which is absolutely fantastic. Let's try and push for an even higher position, hopefully not retire, obviously. As we take a look at a replay of Bruce McLaren coming through the penultimate corner there, he for some reason turns to the left, loses control of his car, goes 2 wheels, and then retires from the race. Lap 14 now, and Joe Bonnier is right behind me. And so is Jochen Rindt behind him. As we take a look at a replay of Jean-Pierre Beltois, who is coming through turn 4 here, flips his car upside down, obviously, and is out of the race as well. As we have another replay, this time of Piers Courage, who pulls to the side of the track and is also out of the Grand Prix. Quite a few retirements so far, so who knows, maybe there will be more, maybe not. On lap 15, Jackie Stewart managed to catch up to me and lap me, so we are now 1 lap down. That's nice, we have fewer laps to do. And a little bit later on, Jackie Stewart managed to post the fastest lap of the race, so congratulations to him. It's not a track record, but it's still the fastest of the race. Lap 20 now, and we are slowly catching up to John Surtees. Hopefully we'll do that soon enough, as we take a look at a replay of Joe Bonnier, who comes into turn 1, obviously flips up his car upside down, because that's quite normal in this game, I guess. Anyway, we move on to lap 22, and Jim Clark is now out of the race, which means we move up into 9th place, which is absolutely fantastic. Hopefully we'll do even more. John Surtees is not far ahead, so hopefully we'll catch up to him, as we take a look at a replay of Jim Clark losing control of his car, flipping it upside down a couple of times, and he's not quite done yet. He decides to drive through a couple of people and then crash into a pole, because that's what you do. And here is a replay of Mike Spence coming through turn 7, he flips his car upside down quite a few times, and he's out of the race. Lap 28th now, and I finally caught up to John Surtees, and we make a move for 7th position now. Scarfiotti would be next, although I don't think we have enough time to catch up to him, so 7th will have to suffice. No points for us today, unfortunately, but that is that. As we take a look at a replay of David Hobbs coming into turn 1 with a really messed up nose there. He flips his car upside down and he's out of the race. Actually, he's not out of the race just yet. He backs up onto the live track for whatever reason. There's no reason to do that, and he gets stuck, and that is the end of his race. And we now move on to lap 30, our final lap, as Jackie Stewart crosses the line to win the Dutch Grand Prix. So congratulations to him, as we take a look at a replay of Stewart crossing the finish line. Once again, congratulations to him for winning the race and posting the fastest lap as well. So he was really on a roll today. As we come around to finish the race, and Chris Amon is out of the race, which means we move up into 6th place on the final few hundred meters of the race, which is absolutely fantastic. That means we get 1 point for our troubles today. And here is a replay of Chris Amon coming around to retire from the race. Not quite sure why, but he is indeed out of the race, and we managed to finish 6th. Graham Hill finishes 2nd, Parks 3rd, 4th, Rodriguez 5th, Scott Fiotti, obviously we are 6th, and Jackie Stewart won the race and also posted the fastest lap. So that is that. And here are the retirements. About half the field retired this race, so well, could have been better, but could have been worse as well. On the whole, I cannot really complain about today's race. We did quite well, so, and we quite deserved that first place, because it was quite a bit of a struggle, and I'm glad that I finally managed to find a setup for the car that works. So this is how we are going to race moving on. Anyway, let's get on with the video. Here are the career statistics, and this was Andy's 153rd Grand Prix. His best start is from first, has 16 pole positions, has set 29 fastest laps. His best finishes in first, has completed 97 races, 76 of them in the points, has won 44 Grand Prix, 4 at the Indianapolis 500, 6 in Monaco, has 8 championships under his belt, has scored a total of 517 points, has retired 56 times, has experienced 3,244 out of 4,029 laps, has 7 bronze trophies, 16 silver trophies, 44 gold trophies, and as an extension 44 podiums. And here's a quick look at the championship standings. Pedro Rodriguez sharing the lead with Graham Hill, Brabham and Stewart sharing 3rd, McLaren and Courage sharing 5th. The last person to score points is Andy Higgs down in 12th, and bringing up the bottom of the standings is Jonathan Williams down in 34th. So those are the driver standings. Let's now move on to the constructors, where we have Cooper Car Company and Team Lotus sharing the lead, with Brabham and Owen sharing 3rd, Bruce McLaren Motor Racing and Scuderia Ferrari sharing 5th. The last team to score points are Bernard White Racing in 8th, and bringing up the bottom of the constructors are Joe Bonnier Racing in 20th. So that was the Dutch Grand Prix. Quite a good result for Andy this time around, so that's very comforting. Hopefully this is a sign of things to come, because, well, 1966 was a very horrible season for Andy, and 1967 didn't start off too well either. So if we can at least score points consistently moving forward, that would be very, very nice. Obviously winning the championship would be even better, but I think that's a little bit of a stretch at this point. Although, you know, it's still quite early on in the season, so it could still happen. Anyway, our next race is the Belgian Grand Prix at Spa, obviously. I'm looking forward to it, as always. I really like that circuit, though. And it's a circuit where we tend to do quite well. Not very well, but decently enough, where I can hope for some points, maybe. But we'll see once we get there. Obviously, now that I said that, I'll probably crash and burn horribly. But that is the end of this video. Not much more to add to any of this. Again, we did quite well today, so I'm really hoping that this is something that's going to carry on for the rest of the season. But yeah, that is the end, and don't forget to vote for next season's team. Link is in the description as always. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you all so much for watching, and as always, stay sharp.